Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. We were supposed to be 6, but we are 3 people. And we'll try to compensate. We won't let you get bored. So I have with me Mr. Rajiv Nath and Dr. Gaur, both who have led a lot of thought process in the industry and in the policy making in the past. This session is dedicated to medical devices. So in medical devices, we will start with 3 thematic areas. I will then request my panelists to pitch in, provide more insight into those thematic areas. And then we'll conclude, but we'll conclude with something. We won't just discuss. So we'll conclude with something interesting, something nice, something which is forward looking. So the 3 areas that I had in my mind that I thought we could share today is that, and you know, we all have the habit of talking about problems. Oh, India mein data nahi hai. Oh, India mein business kharab hai. Oh, India mein quality achhi nahi hai. And so on and so forth. Given that that is the general trend, we will pick up 3 points which are good. Things that have happened. Because one way of going forward is to tell yourself what good has happened, what good has been done, and to what good have you contributed. So I'm glad I have on my panel people who have been contributors in the positive way. And the 3 things that I think that are landmark achievements in the medical device path in this country. See, medical device segment depends upon 3 distinctive components: quality, selection process of requirement, and cost. Broadly, whatever we may argue or fight for, these are the 3 things that define what we do: quality, selection process of the requirement, and cost. In quality, what good has happened? What is that something which is exceptional? First time in the history of medical devices, industry came forward and told we will make voluntary standards for good manufacturing practices. Something that resulted in popular as ICMED, Indian Certification for Medical Devices. बाकी जगह कौन करता है? सरकारें करती हैं, labs करती हैं, regulators करते हैं. Here, before anybody from the government or laboratory or academia could do, industry came and said, we will voluntarily regulate ourselves until you start regulating. A great forward step. What is ICMED made of? It is made of internationally benchmarked standards, ISO 13485, ISO 9001, and over and above, good selection criteria of machines that we use for procurement. So one thing that has been very positive in the landscape of medical devices in this country has been ICMED, and I sincerely congratulate Mr. Rajiv Nath, who led this debate, who led this exercise, and the Indian Association of Medical Device Manufacturers for having achieved what it set out to achieve. 2 is the selection process of requirement. So there is a saying, God made heaven and earth. Rest everything else is made in China. God just made 2 things. That has been the story. If we in our procurement process write specifications in such a way that manufacturers, traders and suppliers of a particular country become technically eligible, and a vast majority of manufacturers go out from the bidding and the procurement process because they are technically ineligible, then in colloquial language we say the procurement process is rigged. It was a story in several procurements in private sector, in public sector and so on, because it's part of procurement. It has nothing to do with the sector. It's part of the way trade moves in. But to fix that gap, what did government do? We have frozen technical specifications for all medical devices in consultation with industry, right from a thermometer to an MRI. Frozen the technical specifications, approved and put it on the website, and an advisory has gone from central government to all the state governments to ensure that no particular standard of a particular nation is used as an exclusionary criteria for procurement in medical devices. Which means all well-regulated, all well-conceived, well-produced medical devices who have followed certain benchmarks of quality, safety and efficacy, efficiency, they get a level playing field. I don't see anywhere in the history of federal government in any country writing to the state governments or provincial governments an advisory like this, that please don't use a particular country's particular standard as exclusionary, that without that you cannot procure. This is something which is again a landmark achievement. And third, in which I have a selfish point, is cost. Why is medical device manufacturing costly? Because medical device manufacturing requires certain high investment scientific facilities that are capital intensive in nature. See, if I were to make a defibrillator, it would require electromagnetic interference test. If I made a catheterization laboratory or a CT scan machine, it will need a radiation safety testing lab. Again, a great step has been taken forward. Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone, for which foundation laying ceremony is on 19th. The government is setting up all the capital intensive laboratories, warehousing, and plug and play manufacturing units which will get leased out to manufacturers. In Visakhapatnam, next to the port, where we make the factories, we hand it over on lease to the manufacturers. We provide the scientific facilities required for manufacturing, and the cost of good quality products reduces. Good quality products, because there will be certification agencies, laboratories that will ensure quality. So essentially these are the three things that have happened which are landmark things in the medical devices journey in this country. Quality, ICMED, procurement, and the supply side of things is through specifications and advisory to state governments for procurement, and cost reduction, which is in Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. So with three bright spots in mind, I will request my panelists, first Mr. Rajiv Nath and then Dr. Gaur, to give more insights on what they do, how they are bridging their work and the work of their organizations in these golden spots to take things forward. Over to you, Mr. Rajiv. Just for your information and information of the audience, the R&D lab that you are talking about, Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone is setting up 12 mega laboratories, one of them being Rapid Prototyping and MedTech Innovation Center, Industrial Research Center, not a theoretical lab-based academic research, but actually when you come up with a prototype, to test it, validate it, produce first set of 100 prototypes for you so that you can scale up a pilot for the clinical part. That is something which is coming up, for which we are hopefully partnering with a firm known as PA Consulting, which is world's largest rapid prototyping center based out of Cambridge. Lot of things that you are mentioning are happening. The takeaway for me from this session would be, as on today in medical devices sector, we have more positives than negatives. We are certainly on a positive note and moving faster and faster. Hoping that what Mr. Nath was saying, the healthcare provider sector, the service sector would tap into the effectiveness of this growing strength of medical devices segment without diluting it by mechanisms that are not completely industrial in nature, but are based out of conflict of interest mechanisms between different stakeholders, whether it is price of stent or price of a lab test, or the incentives given to a doctor to prescribe those lab tests. And a very simple example, there are laboratories that have package, preventive healthcare package, in which it says they will do HbA1c, 3-monthly package. The Cochrane, which is world's largest reviewer of clinical evidence, and the systematic reviews available globally, says HbA1c, which is a golden test for diabetes, doesn't make sense if it is tested below 6 months. The minimum time period you need to have before testing HbA1c twice is 6 months. But there are labs that bring out preventive packages which are non-evidence based. So hoping that the service market won't dilute the product market because of reasons of conflict of interest, but would actually strengthen the healthcare market by balancing correct demand with cost-effective, good quality supply. I extend this humble invitation to all of you to be with us in Visakhapatnam on the 19th of August for the foundation laying ceremony of Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone, which is said to be the brightest chapter in medical device growth story of this country. We hope that this session was useful for you, and we will conclude it here. Thank you very much. I almost got used to Indian Railways running on time until we were today reminded of the reality. But then, knowing that you have so many responsibilities, it is certainly very, very great. We are certainly grateful that you could join in this session. But just to add on to what you have said and rightly said, you know, there are 3 states in Northeast now where every single X-ray is reported teleradiologically. So our perception that Northeast IT has not penetrated, they are cut off, itself needs to change. Perhaps we need to go to Barkula village PHC and see the X-rays going teleradiologically to Delhi or Bangalore and getting reported. Today there are, in public domain, I can go to the National Health Mission portal of Mizoram and see which machine is not working, which is working, and who is repairing the machine which is not working. Maintenance of equipment. It is happening. So concluding the session with the thought that we have clouds of challenges that burst once in a while, but we have sun rays basking, sun rays of hope and growth basking all the time. We take this opportunity to conclude the session. Let us remain hopeful. Let us remain positive. Let us find a solution to every problem rather than finding problems with every solution. Let us look at more on progressive growth features than challenges, duly acknowledging the challenges and sorting them out as they come by. Let us know that we are moving progressively forward, and we are not sitting in a gloom where we see a country full of challenges. We see it as a country, especially on the eve of a national festival, that it's a country full of hope and opportunities. Thank you very much.